Scorpio, hello. Welcome to Coffee, Sage, and Tarot. I apologize for the voice and for the delay in recording. Came down with super bad cold and lost my voice, and now I'm just recovering. So I just wanted to make sure that I get these out to you as soon as possible. The water signs, I could feel the itch. So I wanted to get these out without as soon as I could. So anyway, this is going to be the January check-in. For the January check-in, I'm doing something just a little bit different as we are heading into 2026. I wanted to get an overall view for the year, just in terms of what your general energy will be looking like for the year 2026, as well as what major obstacle you'll be facing, how you can best overcome this, and anything else that Spirit wants you to know. But first, we're going to take a look at what your general energy is as we head into the year of the Fire Horse. Three of Pentacles, new beginnings. Ace of Pentacles, love that opportunity. So hopefully what that means for you this year, Six of Cups, Four of Wands. Was that Nine of Swords? Okay. So what I would hope that this would mean for you, Three of Pentacles, new beginnings. Ace of Pentacles, opportunities, right? So it does feel like this year will be a year of opportunities for you. And perhaps looking for ones that you feel aligned with, you feel benefit you, right? Or only picking up the opportunities that you feel an emotional connection to or an attachment to, something that you can fully get behind, right? Something that matters to your core, right? Standing up for your values, standing up for what you believe in here, and just aligning that to your purpose, to your calling here. I do see that for you. Three of Pentacles, like I said, new beginnings here. That's really lovely to see. And this Three of Pentacles here, right? He's hard at work while others are watching. So yes, there's this idea of that passion being there, other people's input, right? But ultimately he is working on his own. Now that's kind of the vibe that I see for you, Scorpio. You're working on your own, you're picking up, and others might be involved. But this feels very much about you. This year feels very personal in terms of the achievements that you're seeking, right? Let's go ahead and see. Oh, didn't even need to ask. What Scorpio needs to leave behind? Knight of Swords. Being quick to judge, right? Perhaps, being too judgmental here, or allowing others to influence your thought, right? Or sway you one way or another. Either way, even slowing down that thought process and just really thinking. So yes, we're entering into the year of the Fire Horse, which will be quicker pace in terms of how things are happening and unfolding, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't just take a minute or a breath to focus yourself, center yourself, and take a step back from the thoughts in order to understand what thought you should be giving your attention to, right? Obstacle, Six of Wands. Interesting. Or Six of Swords, my apologies. That's interesting. It feels like maybe there's this idea or this desire for things to be a little bit smoother, and perhaps that's not the case. Oh, excuse me, Scorpio. Perhaps that's not the case. Hanged Man, how to overcome this. So what I'm hearing is going out on a limb. What I'm hearing actually is going with the flow versus going out on the limb. Going out on a limb, hanging yourself out to dry, or putting yourself out there in a way that maybe you haven't normally, or is outside of your comfort zone. And Scorpio, I'm not saying that you're not a leader, because you are, but sometimes it's easier to blend in with the crowd, blend in with the swords, blend in with society, right? Because we Scorpios kind of operate, in the dark, right? We are the secret keepers, right? Not the people that expose ourselves or expose our secrets, rather, right? So it kind of feels like the challenge here is this urge to kind of go along, go with the flow of the water, right? See where it takes us, as opposed to laying, putting, standing firm and going out on a limb. Interesting. What does Scorpio need to know as we head into 2026, please? What does Scorpio need to know? Thank you. Four of Wands. Yeah. What matters to you? What's important? What are your pillars? What are your foundations here? Right? Two of Wands in the shadow. The world. Yeah, it feels like a big year for you, Scorpio. Feels like a big year of change, of a culmination. Feels like a very, very important year for you, Scorpio. Interesting. Foundations here, right? Foundations are important. Aligning yourself, remembering who you are, what you believe in, and acting from that vein, right? And sometimes we have to go against the flow in order to stand up for what we believe in. Show me that Knight of Swords, please, for Scorpio. Show me that Knight of Swords for Scorpio, please. Thank you. I'm just looking in your shadow here. I'm feeling a freedom. I'm feeling a sense of freedom that you haven't felt. Perhaps in a long time, perhaps ever. Okay. Coming through. And it's maybe a liberation. Okay. And even of your own doing here. Leaving behind that Knight of Swords energy, we have the Ace of Cups, the Star, and the Ace of Wands in reverse. And if we're thinking about it, that kind of came through in the reverse, right? So we'll just have it as it laid. So this is interesting because it feels like whatever that Knight of Swords energy is, right? That kind of coming in a rush to judgment was distorting your perception of certain opportunities, or can distort your perception of certain opportunities here, right? You know where you're going, you know what you want. You're aligned to your purpose, and there is a sense of freedom there, but it's almost like we need to let go of this idea that things are going to pop up in the way that we think that they will, right? We need to be open, truly open to how Spirit wants to present things and how different opportunities are going to come up, right? Different aces, right? And so it feels like there's this idea that you're so sure on what you want. You're so sure on that. But it feels like there's some judgment surrounding this that's holding you back. And so it's like once we release the judgment or the idea of what we think how this will go down, once we step away from that, there's a freedom there, right? To actually go and do the work. It's almost like once we will let go of that judgment of ourselves, once we stop caring of how we're perceived or how others view us, or the fact that we're putting ourselves out there, right? Once we let go of that, there's a freedom that's there. So we need to leave behind this idea of being too critical or too wanting to control too much the outcome, right? Let's take a look at that Six of Swords here in terms of the challenge. Let's take a look at that Six of Swords. Oh, that's funny. All right, so the Six of Swords, we have the Queen of Cups, the Hanged Man in reverse, right? So not doing this, not putting yourself out on the line. Seven of Pentacles. Yeah. So this feels like being stubborn, okay? Not engaging, but then feeling some type of way about not engaging, right? And so it feels like going with the flow, biting your tongue. But biting your tongue, or what is that phrase? Biting your nose to spite your face, something like that. So we hold our tongue, but then it comes out in other ways, or it blocks our throat chakra or something. And so we get that anger, right? Or it's like, oh, why couldn't they just do this? Or why couldn't it just go this way? Well, maybe if you had stepped out, Scorpio, and said something or led that charge, it would have gone differently, right? So that acknowledgement of that is here. This idea, okay, I don't care. We're done. That's it. I don't care. And what does that lead to? That leads to, that stubbornness, that disengaging. It leads to, just what kind of devil energy is there, right? What are we holding on to when we're saying we're stepping away? So that kind of component. Also, there's this idea as well that we back away from things that don't serve us. We back away from things that aren't our issue, aren't our problem, that we can't hold space for, right? And we need to be stubborn about that as well, so that we can succeed, right, in the way that we want to, and build a legacy and a life in the way that we want. We need to be specific, right? So there's that component as well. Coming into here with the Six of Swords, we have the Queen of Cups, the Hanged Man in reverse, and that Seven of Pentacles. So almost when we're not hanging out on a limb and we're reversing that energy, right? Doing something. Moving in a way, we're also really not moving, right? So we have that release of that stagnant energy only to be stagnant. So yes, the image here is going with the flow and into calmer waters, but what movement is actually taking place when we're trying to travel in that manner? By letting the current move us as opposed to us moving ourselves. What movement is there? Where is it taking us? Right? I feel like that's the question here with that challenge, right? How is it beneficial? How is it practical? How is it of purpose for you and where you're going and where you want to be headed? Is it, right? And so I think it's this idea of picking your battles, right? I think that's the challenge for you. All of this to say. I'm so sorry. Oh. All of that very long-winded version to say picking your battles and understanding when you should fight and understanding when you should leave, right? And this idea of getting too caught up in, first of all, other people's stuff, right? And being careful about what is our battle and what isn't. But also This idea of not being purposeful about our direction and where we're headed. Because I think with the year of the horse, for all the signs in general, it's a quick moving year. There's a lot that's going to happen, right? Because we're moving. We've got momentum into this year. And so it feels like we need to be in control of that momentum. We can't let the current take us. We can't let ourselves take us to a place that is not of purpose. 2026, in order to get the best of it, we have to be of purpose. We have to be mindful of where we're headed, what we're doing, what opportunities we're picking up, and how we're working on those opportunities. Because if it doesn't serve us, it's not gonna help you get to where you want to go. Right? And so it's almost like pick your battles is what I'm seeing here, right? And don't ride that current. Go with the flow, only to the point that it's going to help you. And then once it stops helping you, you need to be able to be that odd duck out, right? To stand on your own. Put your foot down, put your foot up, right? Show me that Hanged Man energy for Scorpio, please. Yeah. Interesting. What matters? Four of Wands. Four of Swords. Look at that symmetry here, right? So we have the 4s, the 8, Temperance, 7, 7, 3, Judgment. Balance. Honesty, accountability, going back to basics, going back to what matters, to your pillars, right? Standing up for what you believe in. I'm so sorry. So with the Hanged Man here, in terms of how we can overcome this, we have the Chariot, the 5 of Wands, and the 9 of Wands. Perseverance, right? Doing what you need to do and maneuvering in a way that is of purpose to you, or standing up for what you believe in, even when it's hard and challenging. It feels like 2025, Scorpio, for you, tested your limit so that 2026 could keep testing your limit. It's kind of what I'm seeing here. But almost get you battle hardened, or get you to this place where you are resilient in a different way, right? In a way that's more in front of people, right? Get you more comfortable with being exposed in a way that is, I think, prior to 2025, you were uncomfortable with, right? Coming out of that shadow, that idea, and being comfortable and being consistent, even if it is tough, and even if it is draining, even if it is a place that is uncomfortable. But again, it's this idea of that 4 of Wands. What is important? You're standing up. You are doing what is important for you. And that, at the end of the day, is all that matters. You're doing what needs to be done for yourself, for your work, for your life, for your journey, right? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, so there's a fear element here. And I think that comes up with that 9 of Swords as well, right? This idea of judgment, this idea of being too judgmental of ourselves or of others, or both, right? Or trying to control. Again, right? That desire to control comes out of that fear of change, or fear of wanting to control what's, or fear of what exists out there, right? What we can't control. So up here with that Four of Wands, we have the Five of Pentacles in reverse, which I'm just going to pause there to say the amount of times that I got, that Scorpio got the Five of Pentacles in 2025 was insane. Like, I think if I kept track of all the cards that came out for all the signs, Five of Pentacles would have been your card in 2025, Scorpio. Just saying. So to see that in reverse is refreshing, because it feels like there's some sort of idea of this struggle or this hustle mindset that is, you're coming to a peak and then you're passing that, right? Which means things are catching. And so the momentum is there and things feel a little bit easier in a sense, right? Not in a major sense, because it still feels like 2026, there's some major, issues with what you should give your attention to and what you shouldn't, and what you should stand up for and what isn't yours to carry. But it feels like there's a good momentum that you've achieved. Okay. So to see that Five of Pentacles in reverse, the Moon and the Queen of Wands, to clarify that Four of Wands, it's almost like there's, again, this confrontation of facing your fear, right? Understanding that you can't control everything, you can only control yourself. And letting go of anything that's holding you back. And this aspect of allowing yourself to be too judgmental, or allowing others to sway your opinion or fire you up to get involved in things that you have no part in, that are not yours to engage in, right? Acknowledging that, acknowledging the fear, acknowledging the disillusion, right? That you can control the outcome, any outcome, except for yourself. And carry that knowledge with you as you continue through 2026, right? That's powerful. That's powerful. Yeah, it's interesting. That devil's there, right? And the devil is in all of us, right? In the sense that we all have aspects about ourselves that we are constantly fighting or battling or trying to understand. And it feels like there's this shame or this big dark secret, right, that we can't acknowledge. But in doing that, in turning our head, we give that power, right? Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry about that. I just didn't want to do that on camera. We're giving it power. But it doesn't have power, right? Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has things everybody has demons, right? And just because we acknowledge it doesn't mean that it goes away or that another one doesn't pop up. That's life, right? We are imperfect beings. And how we continue to maneuver through this world and gain clarity through this world is to continue to gain clarity through ourselves as well, and understand that we are the only things that we can control is ourselves, our mind, our thoughts, what we give to ourselves, how we feed our body, right? All of these things, and it feels like that's clicking for you in this year, and that whatever fear is there or whatever is holding you back is of your own doing. And that there's this freedom that no longer has any hold on you. Your secrets, your past, your mistakes, your darkness, right? It's not holding you. It's not limiting you, right? And you are going out into the light, into a place where you haven't maybe found comfort before or not as familiar with, right? More exposed in a way, in order to do what you want to do and be the person that you want to be, right? There's a beauty in that. Let's see what else Spirit has to say here for Scorpio. That's too many. Thank you. Knight of Swords, King of Wands. So Cancer had this as well, right? This idea of thoughts will come and go. How can we be in control of ourselves and our actions, knowing that we are not dictated by every single thought that we have? So if we're quick to anger, say, or quick to pass judgment, how can we slow that down in 2026 and realize it doesn't matter, right? And if it does matter, how are we going to solve it? How are we going to fix it for ourselves? What does that fix look like, right? And what does our involvement in that look like? Page of Cups, Seven of Cups. Yeah. It feels like you have to fight through some illusions here. Like it's your battle, right? It's your journey. And that's what we're focusing on. Five of Wands, how you're engaging, who you're choosing to engage with, why you're choosing to engage with these people, what you're giving, and how you're giving it, right? Being intentional. Four of Pentacles. Interesting. Seven of Pentacles here. So this Four of Pentacles, it's interesting. It feels like this desire to hoard everything you have, keep it here. But then that Seven of Pentacles, how do we release it, right? How do we share it? So again, it's this idea of keeping ourselves close, but also opening ourselves up for others to see what we have, right? See what we've built and allow them in that way. Tentatively, seven, right? But still doing it. Opening ourselves up in a way that you haven't before, Scorpio. Death. Two of Cups. Ace of Pentacles. Perhaps a new connection is coming your way as well, right? And that's scary. Interesting. But that only comes from opening yourself up and being vulnerable in a way that I feel you've tested and trialed in 2025. And in 2026, that will be a major part of your story. Unplug and relax for a spell. I see her hot tea. Makes me want some more. We're all just stardust. Yeah, we are. And we all make mistakes, right? We're all not perfect. Everybody has things. Everybody has a past. And that's what makes us who we are. And that's what drives us, right? That's part of ourselves. We can't deny that. It only gives it more power. Do it for you. Nobody else, right? Nobody else. Don't seek anyone's approval, right? That's, I feel like the challenge part of that is in that challenge as well, right? We want to be there for other people. We want to help other people. We can do that, but at what cost to ourselves, right? We can't pick up everybody's cause, but can't pick up everybody's fault. It detracts us from our own. Homework. Take yourself out on a date. Yeah. Be gentle with who you are. Be kind. Right? We don't need that Knight of Swords energy. We don't need that bully energy. You do enough you do a good of a job criticizing yourself, Scorpio. You don't need to do that anymore. Phoenix. Oh. Phoenix. I love that. Scorpio, you go from the scorpion, ground, to the eagle, air, to Phoenix, rebirth. That is the third phase of Scorpio. And for some of you, perhaps in 2026, you are reaching that third phase. Oh my God, I'm going to cry. How's that for a happily ever after? True transformation, Scorpio, in the best way possible. Oh, I love that. It's going to be a big year for you. I feel it. I can no longer judge or criticize myself. I am free to love who I am. I forgive myself for any wrongdoing. Oh, it's beautiful. I affirm that I am totally willing to freely forgive everyone. I release from within me all bitterness and resentment. I let go of old hurts and forgive everyone, including myself. Wow. Scorpio. Freedom, right? That freedom comes from forgiveness. That's what I see here. Wow. Beautiful. It's always a pleasure reading for you, Scorpio, and I'm so happy for this reading for you. It's truly awesome. It's truly awesome, and I can't wait to see how this unfolds for you in 2026. Can't wait to keep reading for you. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Happy New Year, and I'll see you next time. You take care.